The air doesn't just feel hot, it shimmers like liquid glass. 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity is climbing. The Summer Olympics are being held alongside the Louisiana Purchase Exposition, a world's fair designed to showcase the pinnacle of human achievement. But what is about to unfold on the dusty roads of Missouri won't showcase greatness. It will showcase humanity's staggering capacity for catastrophic stupidity. Picture this, a 24-mile marathon course through the rural wilderness. 24 miles of hell. And here is the kicker. The organizers have decided there will be exactly one water station for the entire race. Just one. Why? Because the race director, James Sullivan, wanted to conduct a grotesque experiment in purposeful dehydration. He genuinely believed that depriving athletes of water would advance sports science and prove that the human spirit could overcome biological limits. He was wrong. He almost killed 32 men. The course itself was a nightmare. These weren't paved Olympic tracks. They were dirt roads churned into thick, choking clouds of brown fog by automobiles, horses, and delivery wagons. There was no crowd control, no safety measures. Vehicles literally raced alongside the runners, kicking up storms of grit that coated lungs and blinded eyes. This wasn't a marathon. This was a death march with medals, scheduled for 3 p.m., the hottest, most brutal part of the day. 32 men lined up at the start. Most of them would never see the finish line. Several would end up in the hospital. One would cheat so spectacularly it became an international scandal. One would take a nap in the middle of the race. And the winner? The winner would be poisoned, deliberately, by his own coaches. Meet the cast of lunatics. First, there is Thomas Hicks, a brass worker from Massachusetts. He is the favorite, a man of iron will. But he is doomed to suffer more than any human should in pursuit of gold. What his trainers are about to do to him borders on medical torture. Then there is Fred Laws, a bricklayer from New York with a mischievous grin and zero respect for the rules. Remember that grin. It is about to trigger one of the greatest deceptions in sports history. And the ultimate wildcard, Felix Carvajal. This Cuban postman is the heart of the story. Back in Havana, Felix decided he wanted to be an Olympian. He had no money, so he gave speeches in the town square and passed a hat until he had enough for passage to America. He made it to New Orleans. But then, because this story couldn't get any more ridiculous, he lost every single cent in a dice game. Did he quit? No. This madman walked nearly 700 miles from New Orleans to St. Louis. He arrived at the starting line wearing a long-sleeved shirt, long pants, and heavy leather street boots. A fellow athlete took pity on him and cut his pants off at the knees with a pair of scissors. Felix was ready to race. Finally, we have Len Tauniana and Jan Masciani, two Swana tribesmen from South Africa. They were at the World's Fair as part of a Boer War exhibit, essentially treated as human zoo displays. They are the first black African athletes to compete in the Olympics, though history would barely record their names. The gun fires. The madness begins. The slaughter in the dust. Immediately, the race descends into chaos. The sun is a hammer beating down on 32 skulls. The dust rises in billowing clouds, filling mouths and noses. Runners are gasping for air, trying to breathe through fabric, through their hands, through sheer willpower. Mile 5, the first disaster. William Garcia is running strong, but the dust finds him. It coats his throat and enters his lungs like wet cement. His stomach lurches. His esophagus and stomach lining literally rip from the combination of dust inhalation and severe dehydration. They find him 8 miles later, grey-faced, unconscious, and bleeding internally. Doctors would later marvel that he survived the night. While men are dying, Felix Carvajal is having the time of his life. He hasn't eaten in 40 hours. He has no training, no water, and he's wearing heavy boots. By every law of nature, he should be dead. Instead, he's chatting with spectators in broken English. Around mile 8, he spots a car with ripe peaches in the back. Felix steals them without hesitation and keeps running, juice dripping down his chin. Later, he finds an apple orchard. The apples are rotten, But Felix eats them anyway. When the violent stomach cramps hit, he does the most logical thing possible. He lies down in the grass and takes a 30-minute nap. He wakes up, stretches, and starts running again. He will finish the race in fourth place, despite a mid-race nap. The great Law's deception. Meanwhile, Fred Laws has reached his limit. At mile 9, his legs lock up like iron. He stops, but then his trainer pulls up in a car. Laws hops in and spends the next 11 miles waving to the runners he passes. He is having a lovely afternoon drive through Missouri. But at mile 19, the car breaks down. Laws, now rested and hydrated, decides to finish the joke. He runs the final miles, enters the stadium first, and breaks the tape to the roar of 40,000 fans. Alice Roosevelt, the president's daughter, steps forward to crown him with gold. Just as she is about to place the medal, someone shouts, "He's a fraud! I saw him in a car." Laws smiles and says it was just a practical joke. He is disqualified and banned for life. The poisoning of a champion that leaves Thomas Hicks. By mile 20, Hicks is a walking corpse. He is hallucinating, begging for water. His trainers refuse. Instead, they decide to stimulate him. They prepare a cocktail of strychnine and egg whites. Yes, rat poison. In small doses, it acts as a stimulant. In his state, it is lethal. Hicks becomes a zombie. His eyes roll back. His skin turns an ashen grey. At mile 22, they give him another dose, washed down with brandy. His trainers literally pick him up and drag him along, his feet mechanically shuffling in the air as they cross the finish line. Hicks wins the gold. He lost 8 pounds during the race and had to be rushed to the hospital where 4 doctors worked to keep him alive. He never ran another marathon in his life. He got the gold, but the 1904 Olympic marathon got the reputation as the most dangerous, absurd, and downright stupid race in human history. Out of 32 starters, only 14 survived to the finish. It was a miracle no one died in the dust of Missouri.